Welcome everyone to the Fated Connections Path of Exile community podcast, episode number 71. Today we're here not only with Balor, but also we're joined by the one and only Zizaran and DS Lily, both high-profile players and very known community members. So I'm very happy to have you guys here and to discuss all our opinions of 3.17, the new bosses, and all the stuff that we've been showered with in this beautiful expansion. So let's just start by saying, hi, how have you been, Zizaran? Tell us a little bit about your league start.
Good. I really enjoyed it. I was excited for the boss kill race. Did some bad decisions. I went in blind on one of the new bosses. That was also the only dangerous one. What's she called? Black Crest? No, what was it called?
Black Star, yeah.
Well, yeah, I went in blind on Black Star. Anyway. I went in blind on the Black Star and got one shot by an ice meteor.
Those meteors are brutal.
Yeah. So that was not good. Like, I hadn't even seen anyone fight it. Like, not that I hadn't practiced. I hadn't even seen the fight. So everything was fresh, except from the trailer. So yeah, I just got one blasted by a meteor, and that was sort of out of the race from that. So don't go in blind on boss fights on hardcore. It's not a good idea. But other than that, I've been really, really enjoying the league. I went Explosive Arrow. Initially started with Hierophant, then went Champion later just for more tank. And it was funny. So many people are like, oh, EA is the biggest bait ever. It's going to be a bad build. And I think it's been the single strongest league starter I've ever had, like by a landslide. Absolute powerhouse. And yeah, been enjoying the league a lot. I've been playing off stream as well. So I've been streaming like between 12 to 16 hours a day and then doing a few hours off stream. It's just a really good league.
Yeah, that's always the telling sign when you play off stream after long streams. Even you just can't stop playing. I honestly, like myself, I can't stop playing myself when I start playing. So I don't even start playing offline anymore. I had an offline rip. My first character, I died while recording a video to Archnemesis.
Yeah, I always record when I'm playing off stream.
I actually did record a video at the time, so that it was funny. I was just trying to show off the build, and then I died. That made for a fun little edit in the video. But anyway,
like even when I play non-PoE games, everything I do off stream, I record,
just in case something happens.
Yeah, then you can tell and show. So even when something like crazy happens in Tarkov, if some random in chat's like, yeah, that totally happened. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking show you.
Wait, so you don't only record the game? You also record the camera, or just the gameplay? Then, in that case,
usually just the gameplay. Either the camera will be on. Like, it just depends. If I've taken like a break and shut off my camera, I'm not going to turn it back on. But if it's still on, I'll just leave it on. So yeah, half the time camera on, half the time it's just like a black box there of my camera being deactivated.
Do you actually like record it, or do you use shadow play?
No, I record it. I think I have like 18 terabytes of disk space, and then I have 3 on this computer. And I usually, like, when it gets too full, I'll either like swap hard drives or delete it if I don't feel like it was anything too important.
I guess you can delete it like after it's been lying around for a week or two.
Yeah.
Lily, how was your league start? And welcome.
It was pretty good. I died to my logo macro dying in the race really early, and then I actually think if I didn't die to that, I think I would have gone first. I actually think I would have. I was like 20 maps away from doing all the bosses, and there was a few hours before. Then I died, and then I rerolled another character after I woke up in like 18 hours. I did all the bosses on that one. I got 6th.
Yeah.
No, I think you would have too, because you're like, I'd say like it's between you and Exile pretty much for being the fastest when you don't die, and you both have kind of like light yourselves on fire and just fucking speed play styles. It's like if you don't die, you're first kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to go slower actually, because when I do that, I tend to die when I.
Yep.
I mean, so does Exile. Yep. I don't think it's the play. Although
it's not the
wasn't my fault
play,
this time.
That's for sure.
Definitely can be the play.
I think it was the play this race.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you intentionally slow down to be safer, then the person who doesn't die, who keeps going first, is just lucky enough to not die, wins.
Yeah. I think Bradburying it is a lot better in 100 race.
Yeah. Bradburying it is the only way I have any demis. That's how I roll. Just try and be like top 4 in the class and just hope the people going faster than you die. That's it.
I'm completely unfamiliar with the term, yeah. Thanks.
Bradbury was an Australian ice skater who was last, and everyone else crashed. So he won. He got first.
It's so much worse than that.
He was explain it better.
Third. He was third to qualify to go to the Olympics, which means he was out. That person got sick, and the person in second place broke their leg, so he got into the Olympics, even though he shouldn't have been there. And then during the semifinals, he was last. There was a big crash. He overtook them, got third in that race, which wouldn't have put him forward, but the person in front of him got disqualified for something, and that put him in the finals. And then in the finals, he was dead last, and there was a huge pile up, and he skated past and around everyone from last to first. So 3 races in a row that he didn't deserve to be there, he got first because everyone else screwed up, and then he won a gold medal.
And Bradburying it.
That does sound very very meme worthy.
Origin of the Steel Mage strat.
That's it. And he's Australian.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just to be very clear, because I know that this is going to come up in the comments. Why is Lily here? Because she only plays Lost Ark the last 2 weeks. Lily again won rank 6 in the boss race. Almost would have taken rank 1 if not for a little accident. And you probably played more than the average casual player by now in Path of Exile, even though you haven't played it in a couple of days. So
yeah, I've still played like 80 hours. So
80, wow. Crazy.
Fucking casual. I'm at 210.
I don't want to know how much I'm at.
Oh no! Like Lily plays more in the first few days of the week than most people do the entire league.
Crazy. Yeah. So we're all very caught up with the new content and all very confident to talk about it. But before we do that, Balor, let us quickly know how your recent build projects have been going since we last talked. Wow.
I tell you what, Spark is so much fun to play. I grinded out a headhunter because I was like, look, I have to. I just feel like I need to get a headhunter, or even if I don't use it, right? It just needs to sit in there so that I've always got it for softcore trade. Then I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. I can just do anything I want because I already own it. But if I don't own it, I'll spend the rest of my time thinking, man, I should be grinding for a headhunter instead of doing this. So I got one. Left it in my stash for like 3 days. 2 days maybe? Because I was still playing a trapper and there's not really any use on that. But then I decided I was just going to do something fun, so I didn't look up anyone's builds and I didn't look at anything, and I just made a Spark Inquisitor. And then now it's accidentally level 97, and I still haven't looked at anyone else's builds.
Did you enjoy the build guide I sent you for that?
I haven't looked at any of them.
I'm joking.
I haven't looked at any of them, but
I was just being toxic.
It's like AFK in the Cirrus fight tanky, which is weird for me. Because when I say AFK, I mean literally just like get up, walk away, go make a coffee. Like it will not die. And that's weird for me. But it also only has like 3 million now single target, which is very low. So it might be time to start looking at other people's builds and see if I can pull any more damage.
Especially when you're that tanky, there's still enough to do everything in the game comfortably. Like 3 million is usually my benchmark for doing Feared on hardcore.
Yeah, like 3 is okay. My original goal that I had in mind was to be doing like 6 to 8-ish. Like that's the goal. I want it to be doing 6 to 8-ish. But Spark is really fun. I accidentally hit 97. Like it's tanky. It's very easy to level if you just don't die. Like if you just can't die, turns out leveling's super easy. So that's good. I don't know. I might take it all the way to 100 just because it's fun. And I have 2 other ideas for how to build a Spark character, which I'm thinking about re-rolling into when I'm done with this one. I'm just going to play Spark for the rest of the league. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I'm glad that you have fun. And it's even self-cast. You're doing the self-cast in the self-cast patch.
Yep.
Rest. Yeah. So I didn't really play a whole lot in the last week. I told you guys on the last podcast how I started Righteous Fire Inquisitor and then I died twice gloriously to Archnemesis monsters because they don't really very exactly tell you what they're going to do. And I made some bad decisions. So last week I then was like, okay, I'm not rushing it anymore in hardcore because I already lost 2 characters. And then I went to softcore permanent because, I mean, the league is fun and all. And it's great in SSF to get some uniques and some currency going. But honestly, it's one of the best leagues or one of the best expansions to just play permanent league because there's so much new stuff. And I just got my completion and tried a little variation on my tree and then used my Deathsolve character from last league to just speed run tier 14 plus maps and generate a whole bunch of boss invites.
Wait.
And then used my Dead Inquisitor from earlier league to practice on Super Scuff DPS. Wait, are you gonna give me shit for
Are you saying
practicing
perma
softcore?
standard? Like not
Yeah.
like softcore league, like actual perma standard?
Yeah, I actually played like 2 or 3 days perma standard now.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, just to be able to generate the boss fights at a high rate, right? To generate the invites and to get myself a whole bunch of practice. Because I'm not
Can I
quite as
just buy
skilled.
them?
Technically, yes. Practically, I already spent all my exalteds on learning Maven. So I have in Perma League, I have no X left. And also they're like
Yeah,
5x for a Searing Exarch. Like I'd rather grind it out
I
than
think
pay
I have
5x.
several thousand.
Yeah, I should have just asked you. I think when I practiced Maven, also some viewer donated me like 30x just to buy Maven invitations.
Damn.
I didn't realize new boss fights were tradable.
Yeah. And roll them
I thought they were
too.
stuck in your inventory. I knew you could roll them.
Yeah, after the first ones. I mean, you know now, right? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
They communicated that clearly in the beginning, though, right? Just must have missed it.
I don't know. I can't read.
Same.
Yeah. Well, then did you actually use the lead mechanic at all in your push lately? Did you make use of it, or did you just skip it because you're like, well, fuck, that's too rippy. I don't know what it does, and it's probably just gonna waste me time.
I don't know. I didn't completely ignore it, but I was too lazy to learn recipes, so I just kind of. I mean, I did it, but it just depended how I felt. If I felt like doing it, I did it. If I didn't, I didn't. It's usually how it went.
I found out the Bombardier is scary.
Was that before or
Yeah, that
after it
sounded
got nerfed?
scary.
I died to it on like day 1.
Okay, yeah.
Uncle.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, wait. So you did the lead mechanic sporadically whenever you felt like it. That's a good one. I tried to listen to my gut feeling, but mine's a lot worse than yours apparently.
I don't know. I was aggravated that I had to, because I was too lazy to learn the recipes. So I was just guessing, basically, and just throwing things in there that highlighted itself.
Like day 2 of the league or something, I set up a filter that hid like over half of the things on the ground.
Yeah,
like,
I've been meaning
there's
to
too
fix
many.
my filter forever. Like 3 leagues or so now. I'm not doing that. I'm too lazy.
It's so weird how many you get though, because I remember that Chris in the Q&A with Ziggy said that we're gonna get like 2 per zone. So on average, we're gonna be able to complete an encounter every other zone. And now the game is just shitting them out. Like you do lab,
I
and
get
you
like
5 per
12.
instance.
I get like
12.
12 per map that show through my filter, and I'm hiding half of them. Like I couldn't, even if I tried, use even half of what I get showing through my filter. Like it's ridiculous. There's so many.
Yeah.
And then we've got the limited stash size of it that just makes me go, no, well, I guess everything's getting hidden because that's too much stuff. And I'm too Papega 3-head brain to be able to figure it out on the fly. And if I have to stop and read them, it'll slow me down too much. So hidden, and I do one recipe and I do it over and over again.
Okay. Yeah. I might do some recipe farming now that I got the character set up, but that was the same line of thinking that got me killed on the previous iteration. Is like,
I'm back.
Welcome back. Everything good?
Yeah, my dentist said he could do an emergency right now, but if it's fine, he'd rather wait till Monday, and it doesn't hurt, so it's fine.
That's good to hear. Yeah, so I was saying that last time I thought that, now that I got my character set up, I can do some of those Archnemesis. That's what got me killed in yellow map, so I'm probably going to refrain from it a little bit further. I got burned badly by the leak mechanic.
I love the leak mechanic.
Yeah, I've seen you on the EA Champ, which also seems like the perfect build to interact with the leak mechanic, which is you just put down your ballistas and you run circles and the thing never touches you. On the other hand, me on the Righteous Fire Inquisitor, I have to get into their face in order to be able to deal damage.
Yeah.
Was a poor choice.
Ziz, did you filter out any of the league mechanic drops at all? Or do you show all of them?
Now, yes, I'm filtering 13 recipes right now. Like I'm basically only doing my loot explosion recipe, and I'm completely ignoring everything else.
When you say loot explosion, you mean the one for the uniques or the one for the currency?
Yeah, uniques. To be fair, I probably should do one or two of the currencies, but I feel like it's kind of annoying to switch between because now I have so many of the ones for the loot explosion for the uniques that I don't really want to switch to doing the currency one. And I just wouldn't mind another like 10x or something because I have 10 right now, but I'm also like spamming doing like, prefixes cannot be changed or suffixes cannot be changed in veiled orbs and reforged speed, reforged life. Like there's just so many reasons to do that right now. So
that's it. I've had mine set up since like day 2 with like the first recipe that Grimro put out, like a bunch of currencies and scarabs. But now the whole thing is like full of just that. And like it's a little bottlenecked. I got to get a few vamps to be able to, but it's not too bad. But like everything else is hidden that isn't for that recipe.
Yeah.
And if I unhide anything, I've got an inventory just full because I get 12 or 15 a map that show through my filter.
Wait, what?
Oh, I get 12 or 15 things per map.
I thought you can drop more than 4.
Yeah. Well, no. I get 12 of the bits on the floor.
Yeah, when you were AFK, we were just saying how weird it is that Chris Wilson went and said that you get on average like 2 per zone. So you'll do a full encounter every other, but you get so many more.
I'm running full scarabs and, full sextants and triple beyond, and also they're just everywhere.
Triple beyond, right. Yeah, that's the big difference. I'm not running triple beyond. That's actually pretty awful on EA. It's like, it's okay, but that's actually something that makes me uncomfortable. But I am like farming a headhunter, so I usually avoid headhunter. But
Beyond wasn't worth until you got a headhunter anyway. With M3 just disappearing, you can't even accidentally roll it occasionally. I didn't even take Beyond. Not until I owned a headhunter.
I'm surprised there's that many though, like with Beyond, because like I've never really noticed like more than like, honestly, I thought it was kept at 4 or 6, but that's crazy.
That's only the ones that show through my filter too, which is ridiculous. Like there's too many. I can't. I could use 8 to 12 tiles per map only on the recipe that I'm doing, which means I just have a full inventory all the time.
Wow, that's crazy.
So. Guys, help me out here. The upcoming improvements to the Archnemesis panel, they're not out yet, right? Oh, they are. 3.17.1 patch, yeah. Does this make the leak a lot better in your eyes? Does it make it easier to manage it? I haven't interacted with it.
So I'm kind of biased here because I also like I have all the recipes in my head, so it wasn't a huge advantage for me. But I've seen a lot of people in chat feeling it's a lot better now. Obviously, like people want a bigger inventory, but if you're keeping 3+ of each, and you get a good feel for like which ones are actually rare and which ones you're going to commonly find, and it's like there's some degree of target farming. Like port has a slightly higher chance of sentinel, things like that. It's not too bad. I think the inventory size is fine.
I want double the inventory size.
Double.
Double at least.
Wow.
Well, I mean, GGG wanted a 5x5 inventory, so that's already what we got is a compromise between what you wanted and what they wanted, right?
Or an alternative would be that they are just like evenly split what they drop. Because like I've been bottlenecked for like 7 or 8 days.
What are you stuck on?
Vampirics.
Are you doing cemeteries?
Yep.
Huh.
Every
Crazy.
3rd or 4th map, I get a vampiric, and then that lets me build a component piece for the recipe I need, and then that one lets me in the next map build my full recipe, and then I'm waiting on the next vampiric. And I run 4 more maps, find 1 more vampiric, and then I get to do my recipes again. And I'm just bottlenecked around that.
Vampiric is also more likely from Bloodlines
really
monsters, right? I heard, at least. Are you rolling Bloodlines on your maps?
I mean, I'm not. I'm just rolling everything to like 80% plus quant and going.
But surely you use... Oh, but you actually use Beyond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're running Beyond all the time. Because especially with the altars on Soul's Alpha and Fortune Favors the Brave is so nice. And just as you said it, I got a brother stash.
Nice.
What?
I really I don't know about you guys, but I like really struggle doing one thing at a time. Like I really like doing something at the same time.
I get in trouble when I play PoE
Really?
while podcasting. Well, I get in trouble when I get caught.
What?
I just find it so much easier to focus on conversations. Like every meeting or anything I'm in, I'm doing something. I really struggle. Like I think it's because I do streaming for a living. I think like just for so long, like I struggle.
You're just a better multitasker, at least. I mean, I couldn't do it. Like I'm pretty bad at chatting while I'm playing the game, and I'm pretty bad at playing the game when I'm talking to chat. So like I wouldn't dare to play during the podcast, but obviously for me it's also a little bit different because I have to monitor all the other things here.
Oh yeah.
When you're running the podcast, it's different from when you're sitting there and talking.
I definitely don't do it when I'm running podcasts because then I have to like keep the conversation flowing, and I also have to manage scenes and stuff like that. But whenever I'm in meetings or anything, even like important business meetings, I'm usually like doing something like playing a Flash game or PoE.
The snake game.
Yeah, I love the snake game. It's so good.
That one is really good. For a while I played like a Sudoku game from Steam, like free to play. That was really nice.
I've gotten really into Wordle and Nerdle.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that at all. I've just seen the weird tweets.
Yeah, so Wordle is just like games that have been around forever. You just guess like, a word per day. But Nerdle, you guess a math piece per day, and I'm really bad at math, so I've been enjoying it a lot. And it'll tell you like, okay, yeah, there is an addition or a subtraction in this, so you like get some idea, but you have to work out the equation. It's really fun.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because it looked interesting whenever I saw people posting about it. Haven't taken the time to do that.
Math?
Yeah.
Nerdle.
Nerdle is math. Wordle is words.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I started playing a new one, which is actually too big brain for me. It's called Quordle. You're doing 4 Wordles at the same time.
What?
And you only have 8 tries. It's very hard. And my brain does this thing that, it'll be like, 5-letter word that ends on D. And then my brain is like, you no longer remember what words end in D or E. They just don't exist in my brain anymore. Brain just goes like, you no longer remember those words. Sorry.
Nice.
Unlucky.
Good thing that doesn't happen podcasting.
True.
To be remembering all the words. Let's quickly close up the Archnemesis topic by saying, if there's one thing that you could change, what would it be? Is there anything that you still think is like a big improvement possible to the league? Lily?
I mean, with the new improvements, I don't know what else they'd do.
Okay, no, fair.
I mean, maybe make more recipes useful. I mean, it seemed like most of them weren't very great to me. Like, just ignore basically all of them except for the loot explosion ones, at least.
Well, so they actually can be used pretty well. Like, for example, something people didn't realize for a while, I think people are catching on now, but like Tree and Torn, because it actually like mirrors what else is in the recipe. You can take, for example, Corruptor that gives abyssal rewards, and then you can take the Corrupted Gaze on the skill tree, which, you know, makes a chance to get the 5 or 6. If you do that with Tree and Horn, then you're getting 20 to 80 abyssal jewels, and they all have like, you know, a chance to get 5 or 6. And so you get 2 of that, right? You get one with Corruptor, then one with Tree and Horn. Now you start having to pull in fillers, but Opulent is the best filler for when you don't have anything that is an actual conversion, because Opulent doesn't have its own rewards either. It's kind of dog shit, actually. I've stopped picking it up, except to abuse intro and horde recipes. You can do the same with like maps as well, to just get an absolute shit ton of like Elder Guardian maps and stuff. Pretty cool.
I have to try that. The Abyssal one sounds scary to me, though, because that requires that you do a high item level so that you can go get good mods on the Abyss Jewels.
Yeah, I'm usually spamming them in tier 16s.
But my whole atlas is tier 16. There is no low item levels.
Same.
Yeah, I'll get there in the next couple days. I'm just slow because I took my standard training days. But yeah, no, I'll get there. I'm just a little bit scared of constant tier 16 right now. But
So, are you back on hardcore now?
Oh yeah, I've been doing hardcore, absolutely. Like, I just did like 3 days
I was so
of
surprised
practice.
earlier, because that's fine. I thought you were literally maining standard now, and I was like, really?
No. What I did is I died at level 91, then I leveled back to 93, and I was like, well, the race is over anyway. Why should I risk my character by going in blind or unpracticed into these new bosses? When people tell me I don't have a chance to survive against Black Star, and then I went into Black Star blind on standard with my ripped character, basically an inferior version of the current character that I have, right? Like less life, less resists, less damage, and just practiced as long as I needed to do them all deathlessly. And now I'm back. Yesterday I actually came back to Archnemesis.
That's really smart.
Well, I mean, gotta be smart to compensate for inability, right? We sucked the Archnemesis topic dry. What is your favorite passive stuff on the Atlas passive tree? Any good areas that you want to talk about? I think we all agree that, I think last podcast, I didn't know that yet, but the influenced pack size is pretty premium.
Yeah, I've been running both of those for a while now. It's so insane that it stacks. It's just amazing. Like, but for those that don't know, there's 2 triangles on the Atlas tree. They're called Rampant Growth and Word of the Exarch, and they're supposed to be, you know, during the red one, you take the red one, but the small nodes are just influence pack size. So you get like, I think the most altars I've had is like 15 or 16 altars, because they're also recursive. So if you spawn an altar, kill the monsters from it, those monsters can also spawn an altar for whatever reason. I think there's like barely any recursion in PoE. Like, and where there is recursion, it's so small. Like, I've only heard of 2 people dropping a blight map from a blight map ever. I've never had it happen myself because it's so rare. So it's so insane.
Also, those pack sizes work on the other influences as well. So like Cirrus maps and Elder things and Shaper things. If you need like an Elder base, suddenly your Elder maps have 20% pack size on all the Elder stuff.
Yep.
Like it's
insane.
They're part of every single tree forever. They're just there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you see any tree where you wouldn't pick those? I mean, I guess if you're not farming influenced packs, if you're just farming Maven, I guess.
I take them off when I'm leveling new characters in hardcore. There's no reason to have them then.
Yeah.
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
There's some strategies that don't run them. Like there's a strategy right now that's super low gear requirement, like Alk and Go. and it's like traveling around the whole tree to pick up all the duplicate map drops, all the little travel nodes, the duplicate map things, and then just speed running tier 14 like city squares to the boss, and literally farming like influenced maps from the boss's drops.
Oh,
And they're just every time an influence map drops, they get like 4.
that's smart. I like that.
Yeah. And so it's just Alk and go, no investment at all, and they don't even bother to clear the map. Just kill the thing, leave, kill the thing, leave, kill the thing, leave, kill the thing, leave. Because it's just you're just trying to get that boss drop stuff from the.
I also heard
boss.
that City Square is extremely good, though, if you're farming with the influenced pack size stuff, with the Eater of Worlds influence, because you can just rush to the boss in City Square. And what happens is when you kill the boss first before you spawn the altars, or like any altars you spawn after you kill the boss, doesn't offer you boss mods, only offers you Eldritch minions and player mods. And the Eldritch minion mods are the juicy ones. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It's a big respec though to take all the duplicate, right? How many duplicate nodes are there?
A lot. It is a big respec. But on trade, those things are like 1 each. Then
Not too big.
Like less than 20, isn't it?
30 maybe. Wow, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, no, the thing is, what I really love about the Atlas is that it feels like it's hard to go wrong, because even the travel nodes are good. So it's you have I feel like it's easier to speak about what nodes are bad, right? Like there's some nodes that like aren't worth traveling to, like some of the percent chance for things to spawn. I only ever take those if I'm there, right? Like I really do want 4% more chance to spawn harvest, but I'm not gonna travel there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot about the new Alice tree, that I feel like you can do pretty much whatever you want to do and not feel like you're getting shafted by it because you're not like choosing something good.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain that to people at the start too. Like, what's the best Atlas tree?
Yeah, that's why I liked Octavian's tweet. He tweeted like, the Atlas tree you planned out, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
right?
Yeah.
How many times a day do you get? What's the best Atlas tree? Like, it's really. This transfers over to trade too really, really well. Like literally every single thing that you could spec into is profitable, and then buying the scarabs to go with it is a good move and will make you more profit. It literally doesn't matter what you pick. Like you could just pick the things you want to do and buy everything to go with that. Juice that up. The thing, whatever it is you like, juice that and do it hard, and you'll make money. It's great.
How cheap are scarabs this league in
Free?
They're free in SSF.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, I could probably put scarabs onto every map and still not run out ever, if I wasn't picky which ones I put.
Yeah, like if you use any, you're never gonna run out of scarabs this league as long as you're running tier 16s. You get so many, and then you have the operator strongbox as well. Like, there's just so much good stuff this league.
If anyone is in Trade League and not running scarabs on their map, they're making a horrible mistake.
I would say the same for SSF this league.
all scarabs, the rusteds are under a C. Many of them are 3 for 1 chaos. And like all of those scarabs will make you more than a chaos. They just will. It's actually crazy.
I think it's just very easy to take for granted as a new player. Like, there's so many things in the game. So as a new player, you very quickly go like, well, how important is it really? Like, they have so many other things to focus on. I feel like gems and jewels and flasks are like very easy to neglect. And then especially sextants and scarabs as a new player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether you guys were referencing that tweet. I don't think that was Octavian's tweet, but like the best Atlas tree is what someone tweeted. I thought was really good. Is the one that doubles down on mechanics that you enjoy interacting with. That's the most important takeaway there. Just you can make the stuff that you do anyway so much better, and just skip on the stuff that you hate doing. Like, I mean, I know harvest is good. I can't skip a harvest, but I also hate harvest, so I'm not picking the nodes because I don't want harvest to force me to slow down and to do stuff.
I hate Expedition and Harvest, so I just took none of it. Even Expedition is like the most profitable thing you can do too, and I'm like softcore trade Andy, and I'm just not. I'm just like, I just don't want to. Like,
well, so what I do at the moment, I save up like 50 to 100 expedition scarabs, and then I do all of them. It feels like a chore though, because I hate it. It's like so unenjoyable to me. I hate it.
Wait, so you get the scarabs and then you refund your passive?
Yeah.
Sorry. Could you please repeat, Lily? I didn't get that.
Oh, I haven't done Expedition since Expedition League.
Wow.
Which is probably I shouldn't do that, or I should do Expedition, but it feels such like out of the way to do it in a map. I hate.
No, it is, but it's like I get like, if depending on RNG, I get like per like session, I get like 200 to 600 chaos, and I don't really have that many great ways of getting chaos on SSF, and I'm spamming Fortune Favors the Bold every single map, so. Because that gives you 10% more attack size. Yeah.
Right up until the Headhunter purchase, Fortune favors on every single map. Like,
first time I've been able to do that on SSF. It's great.
Yeah, Fortune Favors is really good. But in general, maps just feel so, like, even without investment, when I first got into the Atlas, I felt like every map was so much more dense. Everything had so much more stuff going on. You guys have the same feeling that the game is just way more generous with the baseline amount of stuff that it gives out?
Oh yeah, I'm skipping next PoE League for sure because of that. Like, it's getting nerfed 100%. Everything's gonna feel awful. There's gonna be huge rage threads on the that we've never seen before. Like, I'm gonna find another game to play next league. I'm prepared.
That'd be a good time to check out Lost Ark.
Yeah.
No, but you may have not noticed because you have a beast like PCs, but like, honestly, this game performs so well this league. I was so impressed with like the baseline amount of stuff going up, and like even when you fully juice the maps, it just, the performance problems I had before are way fewer and not as intense, I feel.
They've done a great job.
Do you feel the same?
I mean, I like you said, I wouldn't notice.
Okay. Well, Lily, you're known to have performance problems here and there with PoE. How did it go for you this league?
Well, I had to. Oh, this is another thing. Mid start of the boss race, I had to format my PC because I had a problem that was unfixable, pretty much, for any way you could think of, pretty much unfixable. But that wasn't the game. That was some rogue driver software or something on my end. And basically what that did was anytime I hovered over something interactable, a monster, or anything that would highlight something, my game would drop to like 20 FPS.
Ooh.
But ever since I formatted, I've had perfect performance.
Damn. That's annoying.
So.
Oh, I want to mention something. So especially since I am not an expedition enjoyer, and I even enjoy ROG even less. But today I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can get an influence quiver. And then while trying to find for a quiver, I rolled a shield. And I started noticing, oh my god, the new max stress on shield stats are so easy to roll with ROG. Like, ridiculously easy. I made and I'm specifically trying to get +5 max stress shield, so like +3 fire and +2 all, because that's so strong with the new, what's the jewel called? I have one here. Melding of the Flesh, because that equalizes your max stress. So if I get a shield with +5 max stress for fire, that's the same as +5 all res. So I've been making so many of those, and it's insane. I'm so excited. I love that jewel.
Crazy.
Those new jewels and the new amulets have also been between jewels and amulets, I could make 12 new builds right now.
Yep.
Like, I don't have enough time to make all the builds, or enough currency to make all the builds that are now available.
It's crazy.
That what's the res one people are using? The amulet that uses your
Omniscience?
stats.
Yeah, omniscience.
Yeah, that one looks insane. The builds I've seen coming out of that.
I got
I've seen like
3
bow
of
builds
those
doing
in
like 40
permanent.
million DPS, and they're bow builds. And I've been looking at them going, I'd be really happy with a bow build that did only 10 if I can make it really tanky.
Yeah.
could like only 10 on a bow build? Like, come on.
Oh yeah, no, like tornado shot with that, you're fine.
Tornado shot has felt great before at 1 mil.
Yep. Yeah, I mean mappers, like a mapper you can get away with 1 mil.
No.
If you want to do bosses, I generally want at least 2, 3 for feared.
No.
But I think if you play software, you need at least 5 or you get bullied.
I like 5 as a benchmark. Half the time I end up making builds that have like 20 for no reason, but 5 is enough to be real comfortable.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I like to do less than 1 million. Makes me make me do the mechanics harder. The boss fights, actually last a couple minutes, so it's worth it to switch off the stream music, turn on the in-game music and all that, get into the real bossing mood. One thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to boast with is, I mean, it's not really a boast because it fucking sucks, but when I did my softcore practice, the first night, I actually dropped 3 shafts.
Wow.
Like just like that, I dropped the shafts, and then one of the next map, like almost back to back, I got a double shafts drop from one of the altars where it says, chance to duplicate uniques, and I got another shafts and it doubled. And I was just like, dude, I'm so done. Like the one time I don't map in SSFHC, but I go to standard, I get like 3 shafts drops. I also got 3x in that night. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, the altars are insane. The biggest like percent chance I've had so far was 75% chance to double uniques. And I dropped a brass dome and it didn't duplicate. Every other item in that one combo duplicated except the brass dome. And I'm like, that's specifically something I'm trying to get multiple of to double corrupt as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. So good on your build.
Yeah.
What? How rare are brass? I feel like I haven't even dropped a brass dome, and I'm dropping like everything.
I have 4. They're pretty rare. They're tier 2, I think. Actually, I have the spreadsheet open. I go look. Brass dome.
How many brass domes do you have, Lily?
0. And I feel like Ziz gets like 10 every league. Every time I look at Ziz's stream, he has a brass dome.
I love brass dome.
It's so good.
Yeah, my friendship. I was going to make a div card for Impulsa because Impulsa is my favorite chest unique, but then Impulsa is nerfed into the ground now because Elemental Overload doesn't work with Impulsa anymore.
True.
So friendship ended with Impulsa. I might make, and I don't actually want to make a div card for Breaststone because in my opinion it should drop from the Minotaur. That's where it belongs, and I hate that it doesn't.
I still hate that.
Yeah. That was actually on my private list of talking points because I know you've been very vocal about that in the past, that certain boss drops can be acquired just by handing in div card sets that you don't need to do the boss for. I was going to ask whether with the new bosses you're more happy with the rewards that we currently have, seeing that there is no div cards to acquire the rewards and there probably won't be any.
Yet.
Oh, there will be for sure.
Absolutely will be. What?
Well, they're not taking new div card submissions, but then old div cards can be remade. So, like, some people get to submit a new design for a div card.
I mean, there's hundreds of div cards waiting to be made. Like, I still have an extra one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, they do have veto, right? Like, they could say, no, we're not doing that if people want something.
That would be great if they did that. It doesn't seem like they do. I think it is getting better and better. I was even considering going Trade League this league. But in another way, I think they made Trade League even worse for me because now the game for people like me that play this much, Trade League is too easy. But from what I want out of the game, right? Because I'm like, the least I play in a league is 600 hours, right? Up to 1200. So when you play that much, kind of everything's become possible. The only thing that's making me consider Tradely is the new jewel. And I initially thought, well, nearly everybody that was in the boss kill race dropped one on their first kill. So I was like, this doesn't seem that rare. Now I've killed 9 and I haven't got a jewel yet. So
Oh yeah, I don't have a single one yet.
Yep.
I
I don't
also
have
got
a
one.
single one.
I got one on my first kill for Scion Champion, but that was in Perma SC. So that's rotting away there.
But there'll be
Yeah,
a Forbidden Flame jewel div card next week, and you'll just be able to farm that.
Oh God, I hope not. Please no.
I hope not.
There will be. I don't want there to be, but it'll be there. It'll probably be in a really good map too, like just added to burial chambers.
See, I don't. Honestly, I mind those slightly less than I do other. Like, I really hate that there's a Starforge div card and stuff like that. I really don't mind as much the Watcher side div card, especially because it's so random. But it's specifically when it's like an enabling unique, you should have to kill the boss for that. I don't mind as much, even with the Jewel or a Watcher's Eye, because there's still so much RNG. And at least with the Samurai's Eye, it drops from a Lich. It doesn't have like a nice map location that is target farmable. So I don't mind div cards that drop from other bosses. My biggest problem with div cards is the Void and the binary.
Tactics.
And stack decks.
Mm.
That I don't like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just so important that bosses are special to me.
Yep, I do agree. And that's why I hope that there won't be too many, or at least not a div card for every unique that we get from the bosses right now. But, maybe, just maybe, seeing that they don't accept new div card submissions, right? Like, they basically already sold the div card designs, so now they can be a little bit more picky with the ones that they accept.
True.
I hope.
I hope so too.
Kirac is the replacement for Zana. What do you guys think? Is Kirac a worthy successor? Are you missing Zana?
No,
No?
No, not really. I don't
I
mind.
hated Xana.
Whoa.
Ever
That's
since
a
hot
I just found her voice line so annoying in Synthesis League. Ever since then, I've hated her. Like, I put her in a cage in my hideout, and I just leave her there in the corner.
Wow. See? All right. I don't have like that much hatred for Zana. It's just
No. Actually, my hair color is a tribute to Zana.
oh nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I like the new Kirac system. I like the new implicits. The only thing I don't like is that our Atlas passives don't work, and I don't feel like there's a massive reason for it. It makes it like very unenjoyable to run the Kirac maps because it ends up being I get like, I go for the mission that's like, oh, drops a full stack of divination cards. I go for that, and as soon as that drops, I'm leaving. Like, I don't want to finish the map. And if I
no
find
influence.
something that I usually have points for, like, oh, well, I normally have harvest points or ritual points, well, then that feels super unenjoyable too.
Yeah, so I actually went early league because I played RF Inquisitor in SSFHC. I really wanted to go into Heist to get the replica Soul Tether, or at least to have a shot at getting it, right? Because you can't get it anywhere else. So I picked the Heist nodes, and I get a lot of Smuggler's Cache, but I never get blueprints. Like, I literally had like 3-4 blueprints in total in the entire league. Like, so many Smuggler's Caches. And then I discovered that Kirac offers you a lot of maps with Smuggler's Caches, but then your Atlas passives don't apply to that, so you don't get the fully revealed blueprints from that. You don't get more likely to get blueprints from those. So,
At least you do. They do apply if you like buy the maps with the implicit, because they're still your maps.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
When you move that over to trade, Kirac just becomes a vendor that you wait a few days and you grab the reroll things. You just stand there and you reroll for like a Cortex. And if you get that, you run it. And if you don't get it, you just ignore it. And I feel like that's a huge missed opportunity. If those had been on my Atlas, I'd still be interested in Kirac missions right now.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I find that pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I'm really not sure why that's a thing. Instead of just having it launched from my Atlas still. Like, I don't. But oh well. That's all right. He's just an NPC I can ignore mostly. Check his buy tab occasionally, and then that's it.
Yeah. No, I feel like in SSF there's still a good reason to do the missions that he offers you when they have good guaranteed rewards, like Ziz said, with the stack of divination cards. And also, like, when you're looking for blueprints, right? Like, I'll still run the Smuggler's Cache, but I'm also not full clearing the maps because Juicy Influence is missing so much.
Yeah, speaking of the caches, I've never had a worse time getting like replica maps, like the Grand Heist, and I even had the nodes in. I've had like 6 the entire league. I'm so sad because there's so many replica blueprints I want, and they just don't fucking exist. I hate it.
Same. Yeah. I actually feel like that the nodes, I'm going to test it and unspec it, but like people have hinted at that they had a similar experience. And I have a feeling that actually my blueprint drop rate is going to get better once I unspec out of those nodes.
You know, that's another thing I haven't done since the respective league. I haven't done a blueprint for Heist since Heist League.
Well, then you've just been picking smart builds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really like Grand Heist. I really hate normal Heist. I feel like the normal Heist system's kind of garbage.
But they're still so good in SSF for currency generation and like basic uniques.
Sure, but you don't have a problem with that this thing.
No, that's true. That's true. But still, it's a nice way to get going. Like, I mean, I leveled my Heist members, like seeing that I was planning to farm replica blueprints just like you, and I was like, okay, I need high-level Heist members anyway, so I spammed my contracts early. And the amount of div cards that I got, just random stuff. Like, I had half a set of Chains That Bind after I was done with my handful of Deception heists. Perception is the one with div cards.
Perception.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
And then I was able to complete the set by just farming a handful of cages. And you get so much stuff. Also, yeah, you know, when I look at my stash and I don't have chaos for the next map to roll, or in order to switch up a resist for like a chaos resist craft or something like that, I'm just always like, hop into a heist, get a handful of chaos. It's so fast to generate the currency that you need.
Have you guys tried the your strong boxes can open again node?
Yeah.
I wish there was a notification. Like, I'm like, where's the monster? Oh, I can open it again. Fuck.
I wanted to un-ID again or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looked different.
Yeah, that would be good. Or like
that one
even
is
just
also
a little pling.
Please finish first.
Even just like a little pling, like it procced.
Yeah. Some sort of indication.
There'll be like a monster left somewhere, and I'll keep trying to reopen it, but it won't open.
There's one like underground mob that you haven't walked near enough to pop up yet.
Yeah. Pain.
No, I haven't used that yet, but I heard that one's also recursive, or like it can proc multiple times on the same strongbox.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For people opening the same strongbox like 6 times.
Yeah, I think 4 is the record I've seen so far.
Twice I've gotten 3. One of them was on the Scarab strongbox, which was really cool. That was like a whole inventory full of Scarab. I had to leave my map and go back in.
Oh my god, that is what I dislike the most about this thing. So I am, you know how like, you know, you don't walk 2 trips with your bags when you're doing groceries? I have the same with my maps. I don't go back in my map and pick up more loot, but this thing you have to. I like my entire fucking inventory is full of Scarabs. I'm not going to leave the rest on the ground. And like, oh.
Yeah, you're the efficiency guy. You made that video like years ago.
Imagine if they didn't stack like they used to not stack.
Oh my god.
You'd be using like 3, 4, 5 portals per map. It'd be horrible.
10.
To be fair, like a lot of the quality of life changes that we got recently, it's so hard now to imagine playing the game without it. Like stacking fragments and scarabs are very relatively high on top of the list.
Masteries? Fucking love it. Like masteries and the Atlas passives, just the game is so good right now. And like, so I started like re-enjoying PoE. I'd say like the last year I've kind of hated PoE. And it's just been getting worse and worse. And I was like, shit, am I gonna have to find a new game? And then Scourge was like amazing. I loved Scourge. Like I'm specifically talking about the interaction, right? Like, with Delirium, you run through the Delirium mirror. With Scourge, you press V and boom, everything's great. I really loved that interaction. It was so fun. And it was probably the most enjoyable league for me ever. But then they really fucked the rewards. I was so excited to, corrupt items, especially rares. And it was basically like only usable on it was pretty much only usable on like uniques that you had multiple of, and you would have to be a lunatic to actually corrupt like a good rare item, and that felt really bad. So I was very surprised and sad that they ditched the league, because interaction wise it's the best league interaction we've ever had, with the worst being original Metamorph and then original Harvest.
I was really sad. I'll agree with you on that. When they stopped like delivering updates and basically it felt like they abandoned the league. It was like, okay, just play it. We're done making changes. Yep. But it pays off with the patch that we got now. Like,
sure.
I'm pretty sure they just put all their effort into making this as good as possible. And this release is really, I'd say this is the release Path of Exile needed, because not only is it like really good in terms of new content that we get, and yeah, sure, the league is maybe not like the super biggest, best league, but the state of the game, like you said, is so nice right now. Endgame is so enjoyable, and it just works. Like I barely had problems. Like I got kicked out maybe 3 times on the league start weekend.
I'd say it was a very buggy patch, though.
Was it?
Yeah, there's so many bugs. Oh my god, attack speed on gloves still doesn't work.
Oh,
there's
shit.
so
What do you
many
mean doesn't work?
Doesn't do anything. The attack speed implicit from the red one doesn't do anything.
It doesn't give you attack speed?
Doesn't give you attack speed. It's cosmetic.
Okay.
You mean but only the influenced mod, not the explicit on gloves.
Yep, only the influence mod. Explicit should still work.
I
so
did not know that.
There's so many. I think the only league that's been more buggy than this one was Heist. It's like, I love the league, but oh my god, it is like, I was joking that they finally listened to Reddit, because Reddit always like complains when they put out cosmetics, right? Like, why aren't you guys working on bug fixes? Well, now they finally got their graphic designers to work on coding, because I've never seen as many bugs in a league except for Heist.
Really that bad? I thought Scourge was pretty
so
buggy
bad.
as well. Like I didn't perceive this one as super buggy by comparison.
Nothing has been more buggy than this league. I still love it, but
There were some really good bugs that benefited us. They fixed those pretty quick.
oh, the Pride one?
There was Pride and Empower Enlighten.
Empower and Lightning.
So, yeah, well, for a while, your Empower and your Enlighten would affect the auras in the same item without being linked. And so you also wouldn't get the mana cost. So you could just put a level 4 Enlighten into a helmet and then 3-link your other 3 auras and just empower them. And then there you go. And it wouldn't change the mana cost at all. It just worked. Just gave it plus levels. And you're like, oh, all right. Or you could run Pride, Blood and Sand, or Flesh and Stone, whichever's the 25% one. That one and Pride, and I think there was a third that you could just run for free with Eternal Blessing. And you can't do that anymore. They fixed that one as well. Like, they did a really good job at fixing
Oh yeah, blight maps.
those.
Blight maps were annoying. Like, they would open, but
Eventually,
it was like starting a car. So I would play like somebody like going like vroom, 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 with a car every time I was opening a blight map.
Wait, I thought you have a better car. What kind of car are you driving?
I don't have a car.
Drive?
Drive, yeah.
Didn't you not even have a license?
I don't have a license. I've never touched the steering wheel. Actually, I touched the steering wheel once when I was like 6. That's it.
You don't have a car? Okay. I had a complete misconception there. Thought you had one for whatever reason. But it makes sense. Like, I do remember you saying you don't have a license.
I have a license to drive everything that isn't underwater or in the air, and I still don't own a car anymore.
Yeah.
What do I need a car for?
I mean, that's the
Joe,
thing. Like,
what?
especially where I live, there's just no reason to drive. Everything is like so short, and if I did need, like, I could just take an Uber anywhere, and that's like £3 to £5. Like, so like, you know, five to $10. There's just no need. It would be more expensive for me to have a car than to just Uber when I need to.
Yep.
I'm curious now, does your wife have a driver's license?
She can drive, yeah, but we just don't need a car.
Okay, fair.
Probably will get one once Liam gets a little bit older, because he's kind of like, then it'll make sense. But like, we like barely ever leave the house. Like, there are people outside, so there's no reason to go outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or you already have enough people inside the house.
Awful. Yeah, people.
And a cat. Lily, do you have a license?
Yeah, I have a car too. I kind of want to sell it, but because I don't use it.
Makes sense.
Scary
yeah.
driving. Like, imagine me on the road. I'd kill people.
Oh, I'd be so scared. That's actually my reason to not drive. I mean, obviously, I also don't need a car and it would be kind of a waste of money, but I do have a license, but it's just like getting a license is so easy. There's like such a low entrance threshold. And just like people are on average so, I don't want to say stupid, but like I get scared when I get scared when I'm in the public in public traffic, especially during a rush hour.
The fact that people will watch my build guide and wonder like why I'm minion attack speed on my bow does not make me want to be on a road where people have metal objects.
2-ton hunk of metal.
Yeah,
It's fine.
scares me.
Well, that was a healthy and rich sidetrack from the Kirac missions. But going back to Kirac, Kirac does not only replace Zana with his new map master missions, but he also brought to us just very recently, like yesterday, Kirac's Vault Pass, a battle pass in PoE. You guys have any thoughts on that you would like to share? What was your first impression when you saw it? I mean, we all heard about it. Chris talked about it a little bit last time he appeared on Bayclast, I believe.
I have very strong feelings about this. I strongly considered quitting Path of Exile over this, as Chris Wilson has my family hostage and a gun to their head. So unless I buy the Battle Royale vault, that he will kill my entire family. And not only are they now advertising in-game, so we've never ever seen in-game advertising before, except the already existing microtransaction shop button that is already there on your screen constantly. But aside from that, and now they're exploiting FOMO, which is incredibly unfair. They've never done this before. It's a huge slippery slope, even though it's exactly the same as supporter packs. And it affects my gameplay exactly nothing because it is cosmetics, but it just like it's a very near and dear thing to me. Now, I bought it instantly. I thought it was really cool. I think some of the arguments are literally insane because like I have so many videos being extremely critical of game monetization. I don't like stash tabs. I don't even like mystery boxes, but at least the PoE mystery boxes are just stupid tax because at least they like are made fully available later. And because they're like completely random what you get. But yeah, like I'm very critical too, and sometimes I even get backlash over how critical I am because I consider like Warframe, BDO, League of Legends even pay to win, right? It's just the character unlocks, but people get pissed off when I say that. So like I'm very critical of anything that affects gameplay in any way, whether it's quality of life, whether it's unlocking something faster, speeding up the gameplay, no matter how much it is. I hate it, but anything cosmetic, I embrace that shit. Juice the revenue as much as you want, whatever way you want from cosmetics. I don't fucking care because it's the best way to monetize a game. Anything that affects the game, boo. Anything that's literally just cosmetic, do whatever you want with it. Monetize it as much as you want. Whatever makes you the most amount of money. Because they obviously, they work hard. They deserve really a lot of money. And the more money, they're like, look how much the company's been scaling since 2013, right? Now it's 200 or 300 people working there now. So they're clearly putting the money they're making back into the company too.
I mean, we see it from the state of the game if you compare
yeah,
this
just look
to
at the
3 years
production
ago.
value we're getting, right? So it's amazing. And yeah, no, I don't mind. And as far as like the price spike in Dorian Messionarium, it's so easy to farm. You just do like fucking 3 hours of delve, 6 hours of delve. That doesn't seem like a big ask.
Also, it went back down anyway.
It's come back down anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
What price is it at now?
Last I looked, it was back down to like 3.5. It started at 2,
cheapo.
but then it went up to 14. But it was just a spike when it came out. It could just back down to normal.
It was
I don't
probably
know.
just a speculation bubble where people were like, "Oh, they're gonna want this map. I'm gonna buy all of them and relist them really high."
So I'm actually a little bit upset at it
Are you?
because the button is right where I thought the second Atlas tree button was, and I made a whole video about it, and I had like a whole tinfoil. I had this tinfoil hat.
Don't worry about the button.
The entire first 2 days of the league, thinking that there was this second Atlas tree, and I'm really upset that the button was just this and not an second Atlas tree. And I wore a tinfoil hat for 2 days for nothing. This thing is hot.
Why would you wear that in Australia?
I wore it for the whole first 2 days.
Why? You make poor life choices.
Because it was funny.
Ziz, right now you say poor life choices, but in 30 years from now, when Balor is the only one of us who hasn't contracted cancer, then...
So I'm upset that was my button. My button, I made a huge deal about it, put out a video and everything, and my button turned out to be this pass, and that's stupid, and that shouldn't be what my button was. Otherwise, I'd bought it immediately, and it's amazing. But god damn it, my button.
All right.
And one thing, I mean, like, this is like the initial one. They can make improvements to it. And one thing I think they should consider doing an improvement is that I think they should work as skin transfers for any flask, any shield, etc. But that they only have their special effect for the item they're intended for. Because I really like that. I really think it's cool that it has this special effect with an Aegis, or I really like the glove effect. That's really cool. Like, you have 5 corruptions, they're glowy, and the paradoxic thing makes sense, right? It wouldn't make sense that the paradoxic thing, you have a copy of your sword attacking if you just have a random ass rare weapon, but it makes really good sense with paradoxica. So I think just having the special effect on anything, and just at least the 2D and like the weapon 3D effect for anything else would be really cool.
They're so beautiful.
Really cool.
The shield is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Lily, what were your initial thoughts when you heard of it?
Checked it out? Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I think it's pretty cool concept. I feel like a lot of the things I'll never see in SSF, but so that's my take on it. But I think it's fine. I don't know why people freak out about stuff like this. I mean, putting it in the Atlas, I mean, I don't think it will actually be an issue, but I really hate when games get overloaded on like MTX stuff that you just see on your screen. Like, for example, an old game, or oldish, Realm of the Mad God, you log in, your entire screen's just like filled with MTX stuff everywhere. Whereas it used to not be like that. I mean, I don't think the game will go in that direction, but that's just what made me think of.
Sure, but that's also like completely optional, right? Like, you don't have to have those MTXs. It's not like we play with other people anyway.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't like how it looks on the UI.
Right.
But I have no issue with it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I at first was a little bit like, because PoE has never been like that, right? And when I see it, it leaves a weird flavor in my mouth. So at first I was very critical, because it just feels like, how should I say this? Like, PoE has done a very good job in the past at keeping the cash shop and the game separate, not having too many overlaps. Like, there's a cosmetic tab where you can directly access the cash shop, but other than that, there's only the shop button, and it's very separated. You don't get a lot of mixing between the actual in-game stuff and the MTX shop. And I feel like, after careful consideration, I feel like that's still the case. I mean, the button is really only there when you open the Atlas. Sure, it's a little bit annoying that there's a button that baits you into thinking that there's more, right? Like, Balor got baited into thinking that there's another passive tree. But how often are you going to get baited? Like, you click that once and then you know, okay, yeah, that's just another cash shop. So either I buy it or I ignore it, right? And that's fine. And as for the MTX, yeah, I'd really like if they'd also work on the other items, but I feel regardless, it's still great value to get 8 skins for like $30. And I mean, the map completion, any serious player gets that anyway, right?
So I don't necessarily feel that it's great value. I don't think Path of Exile has ever done that. But
I don't think it's great value. It's like $250 per skin, basically. No, wait, I can't math.
Okay, but it's also they are item specific still. So it's just
True.
like it's more the fact that like PoE has never really had great value for skins. It's like some of the wings are $70, right? Like they're not really microtransactions anymore. But it's just like, you're already playing PoE. You're kind of used to that. Like they do have expensive MTX. So they're not necessarily great value, but so none of the MTXs in PoE are.
Well, I mean, if MTX are more expensive, you also get more value because they're more exclusive, right? You get a better feeling about yourself. Some degree when you know that you're one of the very few players that has that. I don't know. At least the kind of people who spend $70 on wings would be the kind of people who enjoy that they're the only ones having
I have many $48 pair of wings, and while I very much like the wings, I never felt good when paying that much money for them. That was never a thing.
I mostly buy to like either because they just look cool. I don't really care that much about the price, and like very often, like it's been the cheapest supporter pack that I've thought has been like the coolest. But obviously, they do try very hard to make the most expensive one look the coolest. But I mostly buy like when I haven't bought a supporter pack for like 3 months, I think, because I haven't really liked the last ones, and I haven't really been super happy with the direction of the game. But now I bought the most expensive one. I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to support this shit.
Wait, you didn't like the core supporter packs with the Delph core and the Abyss core? I think these are beautiful.
That's a year ago.
That's a year ago?
Yep.
Hey?
They do
that's
one
the
every
previous
year.
one. Yeah, but that was there the entire last year. That's what I mean. Like it just recently
I have
switched in the
those.
shop.
I'm talking about the league supporter packs. Like very often, very happy with the game, I'll buy every league supporter pack.
Right.
I play the game an insane amount. I have 23,000 hours played now.
No, I just misunderstood you when you said you didn't like the last iteration of supporter packs. I thought you meant the entire core supporter. You just specifically meant the league ones.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like the league ones have all been copies of each other like 3 times in a row now.
Yeah, they're even kind of bad.
Or they're just like slight iterations on the last one that look a little bit better. That's what they seem like to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing, right? Like with MTX, that's why I'm such a big fan of it and why I'll always praise it, because if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like it's like crazy to expect some level of personal responsibility.
I have one thing that's actual criticism about this Battle Pass thing, which is that the last 2 items that get MTXs are Bottled Faith and Headhunter. So Bottled Faith just on its own is so expensive that most players never get it, let alone the Headhunter, right? And so the end of that is like really marketed at higher level players. But to get it is something I will finish by at the latest day 2. So it's just too easy to finish. Like I feel like a battle pass style thing is supposed to like give me some meaningless thing to grind towards for a while, at least. And at least those end goals that were clearly aimed at like stupidly expensive items should have been harder to get than just complete 117 maps.
Sure, but then also like you already have people complaining that it's like hard for some people to get the unlock now. I think they'll have a lot more
those
backlash.
people weren't going to get a Headhunter, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd agree. A lot of people would not buy it then because they're like, okay, I can't realistically unlock all of that because I don't have the time to play that much.
Yeah. So I agree. I thought it was going to be a lot harder. When I woke up and heard there was a battle pass coming, I was expecting that it would be tied to the challenges. Because we already have a battle pass in PoE, right? It's the challenges. They are already a battle pass. Just a free one. And I was expecting it to be the exact same thing, like nothing different, just that you would, at different thresholds get the new things. That's how a lot of battle passes operate, right? You have a free-to-play and a buy-to-play one. So I was very surprised how easy it was. Now, actually, I do have some criticisms of it as well. I I think it doesn't necessarily make a huge amount of sense that we can't buy it with our points when
Yeah, I agree.
when there's no, like, it would make sense that it was dollar value only if, for example, part of the proceeds were going to charity. Obviously, like, points aren't real money in that sense. They are, like, you know, you get extra and stuff sometimes.
The real past money.
Yeah. It would make sense if it was going to a prize pool, right? That they needed like that specific dollar amount for it. But since that's not the case, then I think it would have been better if it was either that you got points with it or that it could be bought with points.
Yeah.
But also, like someone pointed out in the chat, this is like the first time they're doing it.
Yeah, I expect it to only get better. Like I believe like one other creator who was very critical of the battle pass mentioned in his video that, you know, fear of missing out and stuff like that. You know, people may see, oh, this is the headhunter skin. This may be the last time they do a headhunter skin. I think they'd be seriously stupid if they did only one. I think it's like with the regular supporter packs. You get fear of missing out. You look at it, but if you don't buy it, next league there's going to be a pack that's even better. Like next league's battle pass will have even better MTX.
That honestly makes me so frustrated and annoyed. I hate this like FOMO buzzword. It's like, first of all, that's just everything in life, right? You're gonna miss out. Like, what if you don't play this league? It's the best league ever. What if we never get a league as good as this? Obviously, it doesn't cost money, but it's so frustrating. It's exactly the same as supporter packs, and like people try to argue with it that it's not because you're gonna get similar looking ones. Like, you are never going to get a similar looking supporter pack to the Hydro one ever again. It is the coolest MTX in the game. I have it, loads of people don't, and they'll never be able to get it. So, of course, there is exactly the same amount of FOMO on normal supporter packs as it is on these.
Yeah, I agree. At closer inspection. At first, I was kind of swayed by the FOMO argument. I was like, it could be sort of predatory, but then when you think about it, no one criticizes the current
FOMO.
system.
That's not the point I'm trying to make. It is FOMO. I'm just saying it's like massively hypocritical from people that have 10 to 50 supporter packs to draw the line here. Like, it's like, it's exactly the same thing. It's definitely exploiting FOMO. That's how these things sell. Because very often, like it's an insane increase in revenue. And it's still like, I mean, personal responsibility, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it makes sense with Path of Exile, or the same with anything where you have options to spend money, to just set yourself a budget, right? You know, like, hey, if I like the game, I'm going to spend anywhere between $10 and $30 per month. That means in the 3-month league, I can spend $100. I can buy this or that supporter pack. I can buy the battle pass, whatever. Just set yourself limits. I mean, I always feel so bad when I say that. It's like, you know, sure, like some people may not have the mental fortitude and may be more vulnerable to that sort of shit. So it's kind of like telling someone who's depressed, like, just don't be depressed, right? But at the same time, you're right. Like, from a grown-up person, you can expect some sort of responsibility. I mean, you also have to manage how much time you spend playing the game.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if they weren't using like FOMO in that way at all, like on supporter packs and thing, I genuinely think their revenue would be substantially lower to the point where we would actively be getting worse leagues. Like, straight up. Like, it is definitely a big part of their revenue. Not that bad, but, you know, I think they'd probably have a good, like, 10 to 50 less employees.
I legitimately think they wouldn't be 100 workplace employee yet if they weren't doing that. I think that's like 80% of how they make money.
I mean, I know certainly the reason I buy some things is because I know you won't be able to get it later. Like, you're kind of talking about it earlier, like buying something because you won't see other people with it. Like, that's a huge reason why I bought a lot of things. Like, I don't want to see anybody else with the armor I'm using.
Really?
Yeah, I'm big on that. I'm a sucker for unique like MTX in games. I'm bad with that. Like, not to the degree I can't like handle myself and refrain from buying something, but
that's really interesting. For me, like, I remember there was a Dota MTX I had, and I was so happy that I had the blue one. because blue's my favorite color, and I thought it was just so pretty, so amazing, and it was like $1.30. And then I thought, oh, it has a variation. Does it look cooler? And I was like, oh, it's red. It was garbage. And I looked at the price, and the red one was like $700. And I was like, imagine paying $700 for a worse version. Like, I just care what it looks like, and that's it. I don't care how many other people have it, really.
I'm somewhere in between those two. Sure, I care what it looks like, but like knowing that I have something that other people don't have, even though it has no value in game, still feels cool. Like the same what you said about the Hydra supporter pack. I have the same for the Journeyman supporter pack back from 2014, because it's like such an old pack, but it is such a distinct look of like a gladiator armor, and with that lion head on the cauldron on the shoulder pad thing. Ah, beautiful. Love it. So happy
if
that I
I'm
have
playing a
that.
game,
Yeah.
if I'm playing a game like Warcraft or like Ragnarok Online or something, I would care about exclusivity. Having something other people don't looks cool when I'm in a town with a few thousand other people. This game is solo. I play in a trade league. It's still a solo game. I don't care who else has got it. Just make me look cool.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. For the most part, I would say I always just care about how cool it looks. Like, I have an Altered Alpha Howl, and it's so expensive. I think it's overrated. Like, I'm glad I have it, because it's so expensive. I'd never be able to get one later, because it's just going to appreciate in value. But
Yep.
I think that's kind of shit. I think my favorite is just Cloak of Flames and Taste of Hate, which are a lot cheaper.
Do you think, on that note, do you think they're still going to do the permanent skin transfer thing that they teased years ago, that they seem to
I
have
doubt
moved
it.
away from?
I doubt it.
That would be so cool if we could finally those alt art 2Ds.
It would be so cool, like, not even from just the alt art, because that's like 30 of us that are going to get MTX, but like, aside from alt arts, there's so many cool skins in the game that I really want to skin transfer, and I don't want to risk losing them on hardcore. Like Brass Dome, like sometimes I want to use Brass Dome, but I'm not going to skin transfer a Brass Dome and risk losing one.
Yeah, that's so silly
Ivory
that it
Tower,
leaves the league with your
Kintsugi.
character.
Loads of like really cool skin transfers in game that sometimes you just don't have, but I can get one on standard. I would love being able to destroy one and turn it into a permanent MTX.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, the only thing I ever do skin transfers on is like when I get a Maligaurus Restraint and I'm playing any S or low life build because I want that bubble. The belt, but
Yeah.
most things.
I used to do triple bubble.
Right. Well, it's cool. I appreciate that we all have some common ground on this MTX question, but that we all have a slightly different view.
Mm-hmm.
Good discussion, but I'm glad that we're all not overly offended over the Vault Pass, although I'm sure we'll discuss that with future guests down the line later this week a little bit more intensely. But let's move on to the endgame bosses and dissect them in detail. How do you like the design of the new bosses, Endless Hunger, Black Star, Eater of Worlds, and Searing Exarch? Is there anyone that stands out to you in terms of like how dangerous, complicated, or flavorful it is? Like, Lily, which one did you like the most? Your run.
Well, I feel like none of them do enough damage, but that could have
That's
just been
fair.
the build I was playing. I don't know, but DD
Roll them
doesn't really
harder.
take much damage. But I feel like one, they don't have enough life. I feel like you can one shot them on a lot of things. Two, I don't feel like they do enough damage. But
Those were the unrolled quest ones, right? That you're talking about. You probably didn't go and like roll super rippy mods on them. When you
no,
got
I
the
didn't. I didn't roll them
mods.
super rippy. I'm sure if you roll them super rippy,
Because then you
Not
also
even
get
then?
better rewards. Not even then? Zizaran?
Like, okay, I have so much to say here. Oh my god, it's so bad because the only mod that you could possibly roll, that like they do no damage. Even if you roll like, I had one with like fucking triple damage or something. They still like, when are they gonna hit you? Unlike
you
the
die to
actual.
one?
No, I died one going in blind on the mini boss one, and the mini bosses aren't even worth doing. The only ones that are worth doing are the big ones. right? So the mini ones don't matter. For some reason, the mini ones are harder than the main ones, which is a different rant I'll have here in a sec. But so like the large bosses, the core ones that actually do drop good uniques and the jewels, they feel like map bosses for the most part, because the only thing that would possibly be bad, especially on softcore, when rolling these would be life. So in my opinion, every single roll, like if you roll like, first off, they should have their own unique map rolls, but everything should be like, oh, extra speed and life, extra physis extra and life. Every roll should add life to the roll. Because like they have way too little life. Like even if you have 2 million DPS, you like pretty much insta pop these and don't have to deal with like the mechanics. Eater of Worlds is the blue one, is insanely easy. It doesn't have like anything that could possibly kill you. Compare that to the mini boss right before it, which has this hellish mace of confusion where you're just sitting there spamming question marks like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm getting an insanely strong debuff that's removing my armor and evasion. Now I have no defense, so unless you're blocked, you are absolutely fucked. And yeah, it's just crazy to me that the mini bosses are harder. Same with the Astral Avalanche girl.
Yeah, Astral Avalanche.
It's like 6 times harder than the Staring Exarch, because first off, you can block the entire ball stage with Frost Wall. So, which by the way, that's cool. I like that, but like, it's just
I didn't
like
know that.
the
That's
Astral
super
Avalanche
silly.
blue one. I saw somebody go one shot with 10 fire stacks. I'm like, fuck this shotgunning bullshit mechanic. It's awful. It's so bad. I hate that the mini bosses are the hard ones. I do think if they had like 4 times more HP, they would be better boss fights. Like, and by the way, I'm talking about the roll ones. Obviously, the green tutorial version, I actually love that. They're already a perfect difficulty. I think that's fine. I think it's insane that the boss kill race was for a tutorial version of a boss. It's like having a boss kill race for normal Itziri. I think that was insane. But yeah, it was mind-blowing how little HP they have even when rolled.
Yeah, I agree. When I heard that they're going to be easier than Maven if you don't roll them, that's what Chris said on the Q&A, but then you can roll them and then they'd be eventually harder. I was totally expecting that the boss kill race, when it was announced, that it would require to roll them with a minimum amount of quant.
Or at least
My
like they do
theory-
get harder then, so even unrolled they're harder, but
My theory is it's going to be like these are the normal versions, and then they're going to just do an Uber version later, like how regular Elder is super easy, and then later on
maybe
they'll
we'll have an
combine
Uber
them.
version where there's both.
That's my only theory. Otherwise, I'm really lost on why it's so incredibly like easy.
Well, I
It
feel like
was so anticlimactic watching Darky have a 20-minute Maven fight for him to do a 2-minute Staring Exarch.
oh,
Oh yeah, my Maven. Did you see my Maven fight?
No, I didn't.
It was bad. I think it was like close to 30 minutes, and I haven't done a Maven fight in a few leagues because I'm not a huge fan of the fight.
Mhm.
I mean, it's okay, but I was down to my last portal, and like the entire arena was covered in her degen. I had like a fourth of the arena to fight him, and then I just spent like 15 minutes in the last portal not dying somehow.
Oh no. Yeah, no, like this is a bit of an unpopular opinion. I really like the Maven fight. I think it's amazing, memory game and all. In fact, I would love to see a lot more mechanics like the memory game.
yeah, I'm a big fan
Like-
as well.
I think it's really cool. I like more complicated mechanics than that. It was very hard for me to learn it, but now that I've learned it, like, yeah, I really like it. I'd love to see more.
It's also
hate
really
the
fun
memory
when you
games
have
so
like
much.
something. Yeah, well, I can totally see that, but like it's just so nice when it's a steep curve to overcome, and like this, like when you finally get there and you know how to do it every time, feels so good.
Yep. I think the worst bosses are the ones that especially have like one stage and you can just out DPS the fight and bypass all the mechanics. Like, I know like staged bosses is like the least favorite thing ever for like maps. Because I'm not really, mapping. You aren't necessarily looking for a challenge, right? You're mapping. You just want to blast. That's fine. And I hate staged bosses while mapping. I've never had a problem with staged bosses for actual endgame fights, right? They're supposed to be fights.
Yeah, I agree.
I like I like everything about the Maven fight except the memory game. The memory game is horrible. I hate it.
Why?
Because I can't remember 3 things. That's too many. 3 things in a row to remember? I can't do that.
What if someone
If
tells
it
you
was
a
the
phone
same
number?
3 things every time, I could probably remember it after the 4th or 5th go. But it changes every time. I can't do it. My brain doesn't work. I don't know what you want. My brain doesn't work. I'd like to rely on chat, but if I do that, they just troll me.
I don't know. Like I feel like when you say it out loud, like top, left, right, left, top, or something like that. And also there's like I think that was even wrong. I think like you can't have right after left or something like that. Like there's a restriction like that where not every sequence is possible. It's a little bit of an acquired flavor. It takes a while, and especially when you're focusing on your position and your movement and you're not super familiar with your build or something like that. But once you're like played the fight on the same build a couple of times, you can totally like focus on the memory game and just memorize the thing. But maybe that's just maybe we work completely differently, wired differently. You certainly do a lot of things in the game that I wouldn't be able to do. I could totally see that having a downside in other areas.
I always whenever I just taking the piss out of it, I'm like, I hope the next boss fight has while moving, have to do a Skyrim lockpicking game.
I don't know that one, but I can imagine it. Lockpicking mini games. Been in other games as well. I have to look that up, how that works in Skyrim. But yeah, I'm totally down for more stuff like that. Good to hear that Maven still takes a long time. But then, yeah, you're totally right. Maven is so hard. It takes 20, 30 minutes. And it feels weird that Exarch and Eater of Worlds are so easy to kill.
I do really like that the first versions are so easy, because I think it's fine that new players will have access to Void Stones and stuff like that. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
And then, it's important to have goals. So it's perfect. I think it's perfect with the tutorial version right now that you have, they get those 2 Void Stones for, not free, but, it's pretty achievable even as a new player.
Yeah.
And then you have, then you can work towards farming those fights. They'll be slightly easier than Maven, but, still a challenge, not like what they are right now. And then you have Maven and Uber Elder as proper goals. I think that's a really, really good setup.
Something you might not know from hardcore, if you fail one of those intro fights, you just die and lose all 6 portals, the next map will give you another go. You just get to go over and over again, one map after another until you succeed. So they also made it super easy to get back in if you're a relatively inexperienced player and you're I'm going to need to practice this. It's fine. Literally one more map, go again, one more map, go again until you can get it.
And in general, the quest ones are super easy. Sorry, yeah. Go for it.
Took me about 15 unending hungers to not mess it up in the poop river phase.
Yeah, that's awful.
I hate it. I hate it.
I
Even
hate
I feel
it.
I go with the direction, I still hit a wall and I have to log out.
It is the worst boss mechanic I've ever seen in Path of Exile. I can't think of anything that even comes remotely close.
Even I would rather do the memory game than that, and I just chat talk the memory game super hard. That's the worst.
I just burst it down. If I have to do the stage, I'm like, nah, you're not worth it. You don't drop anything anyway. What's the reason to kill them? That's actually what's been very disappointing. The Eldritch Exalted Orbs, they should be guaranteed. Absolutely. Maybe you have a chance to drop multiple. That'd be cool. But it's not like they're even that much better than the tier below. So what's the point? I have 100 grands, and I have out of all my boss heals, I've only dropped 3 Eldritch ones. So I'm well, that's very disappointing. Because it would be nice to have, at least some. And yeah, no, just the items. The drop rates on items were a little disappointing.
Especially if someone who plays as much as you only has a handful, the league that they come out, they should be available to a much wider, much bigger group of players, I feel. Which is why I agree with you, in the same line of thought. that it's really good that those bosses are available at such an easy entry level for the new players. And I feel like this league has done a lot of things that are great for new players, like the entire map density with low investment, and how great the Atlas passives are, even if you don't put the right nodes, quote unquote, in, but you just pick whatever you want. You're getting so much stuff, and it's so front loaded also. Like at the very start of your Atlas, you're getting so much juice into your maps. And it must just feel amazing as a new player who's previously struggled to break into red maps or something like that, to be playing this league. Because it just feels like all of a sudden you're playing the game that you always wanted to play.
Yeah, no, they've done such a good job with front loading. I was very, very impressed. Absolutely. And I thought it was just so fun at a league start, because what I tried was I wanted to get, 17 completion before midnight. So you have 5 hours from league start to get to 17 completion, because then you get, one extra Kirac map. And that was good. I managed to do that. I was very, very pleased.
Yeah. And then you already hinted at some imbalance between the different bosses. I'll just go and say it. I think it's weird that the Black Star is like the most complicated and counterintuitive out of all of the fights. Like it's so rough to learn, and just like you said, the Astral Avalanche thing hits like a truck. You basically can't tank it, even if you fully stack up the buff that makes you take less damage.
You usually can. It's just it can kill you. So it can have this like weird shotgun effect where like 3 large ones and 1 small one hits you. Yeah, it's just very weird shotgunning on the arena.
Okay, right. So most of the time you're saying it wouldn't kill you, because for me it was hard to test, right? I did like 5 or so of that fight, and I just found out that if I don't hide behind the columns, then I'll just get one shot by the.
Yeah, and that I made a guide for the video, and loads of software players are like, just hide behind the columns. And I'm like, if one clips you and you have -10, even a small one, you're dead. This is not a hardcore viable strategy. Well, everyone was just like, just hide, lol. Like, no, I will not.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the space behind the columns is very narrow, and you have to do very good positioning. And the fact that the ice storm comes from different angles makes that very hard to correctly identify what's the safe zone behind the column.
Well, it starts. It doesn't change. Like, if it comes from the left, it comes from the left.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it can come from from at different angles from either left or right. Like it can come from slightly left up or from left bottom, right? Or am I making this up?
Yeah. No, a very cool fight though. I do like that fight and the Staring X-Arch. I think both the blue ones are atrocious, but I think both the red ones are amazing. I would just, like the loot transfer from Staring X-Arch too. The other one had just some HP switches.
I honestly like the Eater of Worlds as well. I just feel like it's a little bit too weak. Like they need to buff some damage, some AoE and life and stuff like that. But I don't mind the fight mechanically.
I don't think any of that would really change it though. It's just like it would need new moves. Like what's gonna ever kill you in that fight?
Well, I mean, if there was more pressure on the Energize the Spheres phase, that could kill you. If there was like more damage from his beam. I don't even know what the abilities are that he does during that. But I feel like there's almost no pressure. You can just stand. I mean, sure, I'm playing Righteous Fire, so I'm pretty tanky, get good regen. And good degen. But yeah, I just feel like there's nothing in the phase where you have to energize the spheres that actually pressures you to nothing that really zones or anything. You just walk from A to B to C until you got all 8 and then done. But if there was more time pressure, if there was more zoning from the balls or from his ability, like the beam thing that he does.
Yeah.
It'd be rough. I remember like when Chimera first came out, for example, it was very rough to find Chimera in the smoke clouds before it would kill you. At least for me, going in with shit builds. And I mean, that's been trivialized over the last couple of years super hard. But when it first came out, I thought that was really rough. And there was really a lot of RNG, whether Chimera would be in the first smoke cloud that you touch or in the last one.
Yeah.
Balor, any thoughts on that?
I didn't even realize that they were that easy, because the first ones when I did the trial stuff was on a Stormbrand Occultist League start, which was a terrible idea and did literally negative DPS. It was horrible. It was actually a struggle to kill the trial ones. That was horrible.
Wow.
And then I just re-rolled into a Fizz Trapper, so it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I just insted everything and expected to insta everything, so I didn't realize it actually had super low health.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't matter if it had 10 times as much health. It's a Fizz Trapper.
They have 40 million.
Oh, that's very low. Yeah, I literally just didn't know that they were that easy, because I haven't done it on anything except the Fizz Trapper since then. And it just was going to obliterate everything anyway. Like, it insta-phases Maven.
Yeah.
Maven just, so what was that to expect, right?
True.
You want to know what I want to see? I want to see the Black Star fight with GMP.
Oh.
With the Avalanche.
I wonder. I
don't
doubt.
think they count as projectiles.
X-Stars will be affected by GMP, but yeah, Black Star definitely will. Astral Avalanche. Boom.
You think?
Hope so.
Because it seems to me like it's not a projectile at all. It's just like an AoE, like Firestorm.
I don't know. I was talking to Lighty for a bit, and he said it definitely works on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how he confirmed it, but you can probably roll it, right?
Yeah.
You rolled. Yeah.
Yeah, either
That'd
that
be
or like a private
hilarious.
league.
Now that it's been mentioned, I can't believe that they don't have their own pool of mods.
Yeah.
Like,
Me too.
Didn't they say
It
they
never
were going to
occurred
have
to
their
me,
own
but now I'm like, well, why would you not? Why would you not?
Yeah, like I fully expected a whole new unique pool of mods, because like most of the ones, like especially on softcore, right? Whenever you get to, like, I'd say like it's not too unreasonable for a lot of players to get to 5 million DPS on softcore this day with a lot of builds if you're not investing in tank. And if you have 5 million, the only thing that you can roll min-max crit triple damage, and none of the bosses are going to do anything because they'll be dead. So I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe even like specific to the boss, like that the Searing Exile can roll different mods than Eater of Worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was expecting so on Searing Exarch, I was expecting things like the Searing Balls or whatever they're called are 10% faster, 20% faster. You could have different tiers. You could have like, mods that are like forcing stages, so no matter what, you get 2 like ball stages. I was expecting mods like that. Not like 100% fizzes extra fire. What?
Yeah.
Very odd.
Like everything coming with like a little bit of life and maybe like a little bit of turbo. So like the harder you roll it, the quicker everything happens and the more life he has. And then
yeah. And then when you're genuinely making the fight harder, then you can up the rewards a lot too. You can have a certain threshold that, let's say you get above 50 or 70% quant, you either have a guaranteed jewel, or you have, what if he has a chance to drop 2 of his actual boss unique? Because you should be rewarded for doing like challenging fights.
you like Val them in the 8 mod maps that have like 150% quant, and now you're guaranteed a jewel with like a 50% chance for a second one and some currency. But now the fight's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
It's like actually hard. Like imagine your Searing Exarch has like, balls are 50% faster, forced 3 ball stages, AoE increase, there's so many cool things.
Maven struggles to remove the balls.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. Get half as many gaps or something.
Yeah.
Oh, this is something that people told me, that actually you can bring like minions and totems into the fight and they will destroy the spheres as well.
Oh, yeah.
But then what I also been told, can you guys confirm that? They make them explode? Like they deal AoE damage when they destroy them?
They do.
Yeah.
Same with Frost.
So you just summon skeletons not next to you and just make your own hole in the wall.
Yeah, because Deedle told me yesterday he got PK'd by his minions. Like he was in between the spheres and the minions blew them up.
Mm-hmm.
He just got
Yeah,
overlapped and
you
killed.
do Frost Wall with Spell Cascade and you stand in a corner, then you're protecting against 2 angles, and it's pretty easy.
Okay. Oh, so you put them in the corner and then you
Yeah.
protect from the ones that are coming from the side where you're in the corner. Then you have the other ones coming from far so you can see them early and prepare. And Maven
Yep.
has a lot more time to remove them. Yeah, that's
Yep.
smart. Somehow wish that wouldn't work. I mean,
I think I like it. I like and would want more bosses to have like something where, things like Frostwall and utility stuff is worth it. I really like that.
yeah, you do
what
have a
other
point
reason
there.
do you have to pick up Frostball?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't do anything.
Well, it's generally not a softcore problem, but on hardcore, if you have a really ZDPS build or something where with awkward damage, then Frostwall's really good on Elder. I always like that.
What does it block on Elder?
So if you don't have enough damage to deal with the squids, it can be maybe you have an RF with really low AoE, or just builds where you don't have a lot of the bad targeting or something, like bad minion build.
Oh, right, that's right. You can block Shaper from taking damage.
Yep.
I remember having to do that when I played hardcore. Made shit builds that had 200,000 damage.
Yep.
I've done that. Yep. That's been a while.
So you get
memories.
the real boss fights in Path of Exile.
I'm pretty sure I learned that off you.
Yeah. I have a
Playing
few videos
some-
about it.
Playing some bad RF build that was really good at the time, but now I look at it, I'm like, really? I had that much damage? How did I kill anything?
The game has changed so much. There's so much power creep now. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Remember back then, it took so long to do anything. We're just zooming through the maps and everything explodes left and
Like
right.
my rough first Shaper kill, I had 280,000 fist damage with an Abysses.
Yeah. That sounds so bad now.
Yeah, it is. It is bad now.
I practiced my Uber Elder fight on like a 200k DPS Frostblades build. And I bricked like 14 in a row before I got the first fight done.
Damn.
Glorious times. Lily, do you have any final remarks on the bosses? You think there's any changes that we haven't mentioned yet that could be made that will make the end game a lot better? Are you happy with the overall end game bossing system that we have in place right now?
I don't know. It's pretty much that they're just too easy, and I'm just hoping they put a Uber version. That's the saving grace here. That it has to be that. It has to be they're just gonna go for an Uber version later. Otherwise, if they leave it the way it is, I don't know. Not a huge fan of that.
I'd be surprised
Yeah.
if they add an Uber version.
You'd be surprised if they add one.
If they do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, generally what they've been doing the last 2 years is we have the expansion. That's the only time we actually get a pinnacle boss. We never got a Uber Cyrus. We never got a Uber Maven. So that'd be a new thing. They don't really change much.
Mm.
That is true.
But Uber Elder was added after Elder was added, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, but
ages
that's a
ago.
very long time ago. The same thing. I usually look at what they've done in the last 3 years. Like, sure, things were different 6 years ago, but they also had a lot less employees and less scope. So, Talisman was a very different league. Onslaught, like I don't look much at what they've done in those leagues either.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine telling an old Path of Exile player what it's going to be like in the future? Wait, like Onslaught was a league. Just monsters attack faster and 5 new uniques. Have fun. 3 months.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Yeah,
Onslaught is a
Nemesis
little
was
bit
just-
further back.
Yeah, Nemesis was just, here's some extra mobs for rare maps, and also what everyone considers the world's shittest belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that good in Nemesis League.
Yeah. And then that was the whole league. That's it. That's congratulations.
When did Headhunter become really good? With Beyond or
Beyond.
Yep.
Yeah. I figured because Beyond like just poops out rare monsters.
Yeah. It was fine. It was just we couldn't extend it. It was longer back then too. Like they've nerfed it. But yeah.
We just played a lot slower. The quicker
Yeah.
we get, the better that is.
And it was dangerous
Back
to
then
go that
shit.
fast.
Yeah.
True, back then there was actual reflect packs in the game.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a way
so
different
freeze
game.
tiles. What do you say, Lily?
Old volatiles.
Oh yeah! Oh my god, I hated them so. That's still not the thing that's killed me the most.
Reflect.
Nope. I've
No?
actually I'm not even the streamer that's died the most to Reflect. Like Rise, Noogie, even Octavian, I think, has died more to Reflect than me, and I haven't died to Reflect in 3.5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Can we get a clap in chat for this?
I just had the most memorable Reflect deaths, and I only had 3. Revenants who killed me like 11 times or something.
Yep.
The worst thing in PoE.
Oh, I died to Revenants in Gauntlet. I felt so much reminded of that when I saw your Revenant rip. Because it's all just poor visibility in that case, right? Like you just couldn't see it.
I just wasn't looking at my screen. It's just
Yeah, I
streamer
mean,
tag.
Yeah, I guess you could have seen it if you were looking at it. But still, like, I was looking at your screen when I was watching the rip.
It
and,
is
like,
hard.
the first time, it was really rough to notice. Like, sure, after you died and you're looking for, like, hey, what killed me, then it's kind of obvious because you also see the Revenant monster. But you were doing a breach. You were doing an Ash Breach, and Ash Breach has already spawned monsters that look very similar to Revenants.
Sure. And I would say, like, yeah, for most people it is hard, but, like, I 100% would have seen it if I was looking at a map. But, yeah, it is still a bit of a shitty death, but it is very much my own fault. Like, I know better as well. I have a specific rule. Like, if there's a Revenant in my map, I do not look away from the screen. I stare at the screen the entire time. Whereas I broke that rule for some reason. I did so good. I haven't died to it in like 3 months. It's like the hardest thing though in the game. It makes no sense that a random map monster does more damage than Cyrus Meteor. Like, why? Why?
That's just DD in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, when I died, it wasn't Gauntlet because of Ink AoE, and I thought I was far enough away, but I just clipped me on the very edge.
Yeah. Rough.
Yeah, the visual is not very clear on the range with Ink AoE. I feel like with the regular AoE, it kind of lines up nicely, but with AoE, a little bit
Yeah.
bigger than it looks.
In KOE can trip you up easily.
Well, I think we covered everything that we prepared for. Are there any pressing talking points that come up with the league for you? Anything that you still would like to bring up? Any like builds that you'd expected to get nerfed that didn't, or anything that
Yes.
is underperforming super hard?
I was shook that gain 7 flash charges when you're hit was not nerfed. I guess they were just scared of like ruining the league, especially with competing with all the target stuff. I thought they were gonna nerf spell suppression. I thought they were gonna nerf flash charges on hit. I thought they were gonna over nerf spell suppression. Like I think spell suppression should like get a little nerf and some other defenses a little buff. I actually think even just reducing the damage reduction to 45 or 40 would be more than enough, and then it's more imbalanced. And buff like more odd ones like, you know, Zibakwa and I guess Transcendence doesn't need a buff. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit in the last podcast where we're like, they specifically said that they weren't going to nerf defenses, and then they introduced a whole bunch of map mods that fucked over determination and stuff. So they did indirectly nerf some things, but I agree with you. Like the flash charges gained when hit, especially seeing that like armor stacking meta is currently very strong. Yeah, that mod is a little bit ridiculous. And the other thing you mentioned left me again. Spell suppression. I totally expected that to get nerfed.
Like it is a little bit too strong because it's too strong in multiple ways. And I obviously like it's fine that we have strong things, but it's like it's too strong for what it does and how easy it is to get. Like either make it slightly harder to get, because the fact that you can spell suppression cap from 3 pieces is a little bit crazy when it is the same as like, is it 82 or 83 max stress?
3 pieces? Oh.
Yeah, because you like most things that are gonna like it's so easy to pick up like Mage Bane, and then you have like Mage Bane is really strong, and you have most trees that are alive are gonna be close to that node anyway, and then you have is it 35 on chest? I know, like I've been doing it like in the gauntlet. I was suppression capped on my chieftain just from gloves, boots, and helmet.
Crazy.
And somebody just said cap it at 95, problem solved. That would be the worst possible thing for spell suppression, because that's the defense that needs 100% to work. It's such a big difference, and it should never be capped at 95%. That actually kills the entire thing. That's the worst solution. Either make it harder to get or limit how much it mitigates.
Yeah.
If you've had 92% spell suppression before, you very quickly realize that you might as well have 0.
Yep.
You might as well have 0. You either have it capped or it's nothing.
When you think about the suggestion to make the values lower for the chance to get spell suppression, and then introduce a way to get higher values of spell suppression that come with the downside of making the reduced damage lower, so that, you know, if you're struggling to get cap, you can sacrifice some of the damage mitigation to reach the 100 cap easy.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm. But yeah, I mean, I just think they wanted to be very careful. They really needed a league that is a crowd pleaser. So I think a lot of the issues that we brought up, the easy bosses, the non-existing nerfs and stuff like that, I mean, they've clearly burned themselves and their relationship to the community a little bit with Expedition. And they just, you know, want to give a lot of people stuff that they enjoy. But I'd be surprised if we don't see some more nerfs, either direct or indirect, when it comes to the defensive power that our characters have access to, and then also obviously some buffs to the bosses, the new bosses. I mean,
that is kind of something I'm worried about. Is that after Expedition? Well, basically, what I said was going to happen is when Expedition was released, I was like, they're gonna do a complete 180. Like they said, they want to get rid of power creep. It's just gonna skyrocket after everybody like starts crying a ton.
Yeah.
I'm scared they're gonna go the complete opposite direction. It seems like it is kind of going that way, where it's too easy. The bosses are too easy right now. The defenses were left untouched. We're getting a bunch of new stuff. I mean, I think the game's in a good spot, but I think if it keeps adding on and they don't eventually pull it back, I think it could become a pretty big problem.
Interestingly enough, that is a win-win for us as creators, or at least for me myself, because we have option A, the game gets easier and easier, more people will play, like it will be a more popular game, and more people will watch my stream. Option B, the game gets harder and I'll enjoy playing it more.
And therefore more people will watch your stream.
No, less
that's been
people
like
watch.
Kind of my stance. My stance has been, at least since I've started streaming it, 2 things. 1, I want them to head in the direction that'll make a lot more people play. 2, if it's easier, I can turn my brain off more when I'm playing and just kind of autopilot forever.
Yep.
But then I'll also enjoy it less, so.
Yep. Hard. It's a hard choice.
I do enjoy being able to switch my brain off here and there, because otherwise I wouldn't ever be reading chat.
Yeah. Very good for that.
But I kind of, I miss the super butt clench like moments. I mean, I'll still get them because I play bad builds. But.
That is why hard mode is unironically perfect. Like, it's such a good thing, I think. Because we'll have hard mode for harder gameplay. The thing is, I don't think hard mode is actually going to be more difficult. We're just going to have less stuff, and that will make it more difficult. And then we do have Gauntlet every league for super butt clench.
Yeah, that's going to happen every league for the foreseeable future, right? Like, Still,
The
still
only
running.
league that is very hard to schedule it is this league, but we'll do our best to fit it in.
Why is that? Because of the other game launches? Or?
Lost Ark and Elden Ring, yeah.
Okay.
I actually might play Elden Ring at launch.
I haven't looked into that one at all. Is it worth?
It's like a Dark Souls open world.
Very good. Never
Yeah,
played Dark Souls, but
exciting.
people always tell me I have to.
You have to.
Yeah, it's on the list. Very high. I'll get it. That. Why is there a big green square on your screen? Oh, okay.
Wait, me?
No, I had Lily's gameplay up in the background. There was like a huge green square on the
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's a Dark Souls thing. I was trying to fix my alerts, and it was a Dark Souls you died alert thing. Speaking of.
But instead of having transparent, it has green, and you need to chroma it out.
Yeah, it was what?
sorry. I was just gonna say Lily's on my stream a lot because she's my death alert.
Yeah, but that was like after I formatted my PC. I had to redo my OBS stuff because I forgot to save the preset thing.
Yeah, that was so bad timing. I felt so bad because you hosted me like a few hours in league start, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it was rough. I tried to keep playing, but I was gonna die at the rate because it just progressively kept getting worse. My FPS just went lower and lower. I'm like, all right, I can't do this.
Damn.
Right. I think we'll do a quick closing round before we burn ourselves on the many topics that would still come up if we let this run. But yeah, Balor, what can we expect from you in the next couple days? What are you currently up to? What's the goal that you're working towards now that you got your Headhunter, you get your Spark build running?
Like 9 different Spark builds until I find the one that's the best. I don't know. I'm also thinking about Tornado Shot. Now that it's good, I'm really thinking about taking that like 50 million DPS Tornado Shot build and turning it into a reasonable amount of DPS, but also super tanky. Because it's kind of glass cannon as shit, but 50 mil. Kind of just want to make like a 10 mil version that can't die. That'd be way better. So maybe that. But I'm also like half considering just all grinding to 100 because I hit 97 by accident today and I'm still just really enjoying Spark. So probably just keep doing that for now.
Nice.
That sounds good. Yeah, I might go for 100 as well if I don't die. Will likely not happen, but I've done 99 once before, and that was in Abyss on Delve, Toxic Rain. But
My champion EA, the only thing that can kill you is Revenants.
Confirmed. Are you serious about that? Nah, there's other things that kill you.
Degen and Revenants, and that's it. I don't think you can tank a meteor actually, but don't do that anyway.
Fair. So
actually, once you get like the final version, I need the Maven helmet, and then I'm gonna do like that like max res rule. So you have 100% spell suppression, 89 all res, and crit immunity. Then yeah, you can tank meteor.
Yep.
100,000 damage hit becomes 4,000 damage.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Good to know. I know what I need to work towards. I won't get that tanky on.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be looking to put spell suppression in because with the new implicits, there's no need to use specific bases, right? I don't need apothecary gloves for damage over time build because I can just get damage over time multiplier on any glove base, so I can just use hybrid evasion armor bases on everything and get suppression rolls. So it's gonna be something to work on in SSF. Forward to that. Lily, how much Lost Ark is still on your plate that you're gonna chew through, and when can we see you come back to Path of Exile, and what you're gonna do there?
I do want to start playing PvE. I'm quickly approaching the point in Lost Ark where I'm at the end of the content that's currently in the game in terms of like raids, anyways. So I basically wanted to do is no life it till I get it set up so I can just like do the dailies and then be done or whatever. But I actually got a bunch. I got like the luckiest boss loot I've ever gotten at the start of this league. So I do need to come back and make use of those. But then Elden Ring comes out in like a few days too. It's been rough. There's too much this month. Like I've been looking for an MMO for like the last 15 years. It's been good, and it is like the first one. So I didn't want to miss the start.
Yeah.
Elden Ring. But yeah, I got like pretty much every boss I did. I got something really good. I got a Verity's Veil. I got a Maven Orb. I got an Awakened Cast on crit. I got Awakened Brutality.
Wow. Fuck you,
Mr. Breast on his jelly.
Wow.
I got a few other things too that I don't even remember. I dropped an Impulsa, but that's nerfed.
I'm using that right now. Not great. It's okay.
Yeah, I've got a lot of things that I need to make use of, which I'm not gonna waste. So do need to play again soon.
It's good to hear that you have the itch, that you're looking forward to coming back. It's great. Yeah, Ziz, you already answered the question what you're up to, right? Basically.
No.
What are you up to? No, you said you had some plans of making your build super tanky.
I'm about to do build week. So build week's basically I'm gonna do a 5-day build week, so working week. Do a 5-day build week where I do a new build every single day, and I'll probably do like 10 to 12 hours per day, and I'll make a video on the build and just try something out every day. Probably starting with Winter Orb Totems and an Occultist instead of Hyro.
Okay. Sounds awesome. And then you
It
also
works with the Black Zenith gloves with no cooldown.
Oh.
It's the new like +4 proj, 40% more damage.
Yeah.
That sounds
Very
crazy. To look into that. I'm definitely gonna check out your stream for that. But then also you have your own podcast coming up tomorrow with the dudes.
That's true. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting with Build Week. Yeah, I'll do both. Yeah, we're doing a podcast tomorrow with Quinn, Mathel, and Steel Mage. And we're just gonna talk about the league and the boss hill race and things like that. It'll be interesting. That's pretty much all I'm up to.
When is that? 11 p.m. GMT.
11 p.m. Yeah. So 12 hours from now tomorrow. So 36 hours.
I got up so early today. I don't know whether I'm awake then.
Yeah, that's my problem. I wake up at 3 a.m. at the moment, so I'm gonna have some long days.
Wow. Can you actually? Quick question: can you actually keep a consistent schedule? Do you always wake up at 3 a.m. and it just doesn't change, or
no? My schedule changes all the time.
Because
I never have a consistent schedule.
That's good to hear. And I'm not the only one struggling to keep it consistent. It's like 24 hours is just a weird number, right? Like the day should have like 30 or so. That would be way better.
I agree. Definitely agree.
All right. Well, I think this is a good point to jump off and cut off the recording of the podcast here. I want to thank everyone in the audience for coming and checking it out and listening for so long. It was great to have you here, Zizaran and Lily. Thank you for coming. And
thanks for having me.
Anytime. I felt bad last time we had you on. That was like not last league, but the league before. But for some reason, all of a sudden, the podcast was like 3.5 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, "Oh shit, I should have left like ages ago." And I blamed myself for that, so I didn't dare to ask you on last league. But I'll ask you again sooner this time.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But yeah, Again, thanks for coming. Thanks, guys, for watching the podcast. If you missed the podcast, it will be uploaded in full to my YouTube and all the podcast platforms where you can check it out. I made sure that I did shout outs to the broadcasters in chat, so you can go there and follow Balor, Ziz, and Lily in case you haven't yet. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Next week, there's not going to be a Fated Connections because I'm going to visit my mom. And I'll be back the weekend afterwards. For the weekend of the 5th of March, we got a podcast lined up. Hopefully, we're going to be joined by Tenki and Octavian. So that should be a really cool discussion of the current state of 3.17. Also, a little bit more in depth because at that point, we'll all have played for an entire month. So, yeah, should be awesome. Expect a lot of critical discussion there. And, well, that's basically it. Thank you guys for coming on. Have a wonderful gameplay week. See you in 2 weeks from now. Bye.
Thanks for having me.